Hey there guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Rhake in MCB and the Rhake in VX. We're going to be comparing them and contrasting them because even though they're the same bag type, they do have some differences. Okay, so here's the MCB. You can take a look. This is the black camo color. This comes with the Cobra buckles and is a little bit older than the new VX version, which comes in the VX21, which is kind of like a type of X pack. So you can see that in the pattern of the fabric, there's these little X and diamonds in it. This makes the bag a little more rigid than the MCB, and it is a little more waterproof than the MCB. So, just looking from the top, you can see that because of this type of more rigid fabric, it keeps its shape better at the top. And on this one, I noticed that this right here will stick out every now and then. You can just push that back in, but it is kind of annoying when you're rolling it down. It doesn't keep its shape as well, so when you roll it down, it will have little ears every now and then. Yep. And another big difference is that this uses Cobra buckles, which on this bag is actually much better because usually when you're using it, it's going to be standing and these Cobra buckles just hang down. But when you use Fidlock buckles on the Rhake VX, they're magnetic, so kind of is fiddly. See how it just kind of went back together by itself? It's a little more fiddly when you open them up. But both work just fine. This is more easy on a one-hand operation. That one's a little bit harder. Another big difference in the two bags is that the MCB version has load lifters. So you can wear this higher on your back. So right here, you can see the very top of the bag, you have load lifters right here that come down to the archive rail system on the straps, and they slide through them. So you can actually wear this higher on your back than this one, which does not. But I'm gonna say that they're both really comfortable. I've never had to actually lift it that much more, but I haven't really tried to fill out these bags either because they're so hard to fill out, and you'll see why in a moment. Okay, so another thing is when you open these front pockets on the MCB, they're actually easier to keep open because they're less rigid. So because they're less rigid, they actually, when you open them all the way, they'll just stay down nice and easy. And the Cobra buckles, since they're heavy, they'll keep them down. So it's actually a little easier on this bag to keep them open. As versus the Rhake, one, you have these Fidlock buckles that are always in the way, and they're magnetized, so they're always trying to reclose by themselves. But since it's so rigid, it kind of wants to close back up, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's kind of annoying unless you're not opening this all the way, which I often find on the Rhake that I'm not opening the bag all the way. What I'll do is have this half zipped, so even when it's closed and buckled, I can just kind of open it halfway and just grab whatever I need. That's how I normally use the Rhake on both of them, just because this roll top is so thin. You can barely fit anything fat into it, so that's one of the things that makes this not a very good traveling bag, because you can maybe fit 3.5 inches worth of stuff into it, and then maybe at the top you can bulge it out a little bit, like just this area where the roll top is, you can fit something a little fatter, and it's not a lot of space. And you do have enough pockets just on the outside to have like an everyday carry. This pocket is really deep, and you can put a lot of stuff into here. I would say it's like 6-7 inches. Yeah, so the rest of the bag pretty much is gonna be the same between the MCB and the Rhake. And yeah, I try to only use these outside pockets because this is a little bit cumbersome to get into. so I don't really like this roll top pocket. I use the water bottle pocket here quite a bit. Sometimes for a water bottle, sometimes I just keep my phone in there because it is big enough to fit a phone. It's quite big. The water pocket, bottle pocket is this mesh thing that I can put my Zoji Rushi in. Do I have one? Oh, I do have one. We'll just use this Iron Man thermos as a sample. So it just slides right in. I've never had anything fall out on me except one time when I leaned over too far and it fell out. But most of the time, this thing will hold many different sizes of water bottles. So this is actually a very unique idea. And you can still slide your phone in here, which is pretty cool. So you have enough space, and but the zipper pocket will be open. But I mean, your water bottle will be in the way of the phone. Okay. Okay, so this one has a laptop pocket on the other side, and it has a rain cover guard at the very top, which is just to hide the zipper. Yep. And I believe it has about like a ½ inch of space from the ground, and there's a lot of padding on this back panel, so you will not feel the laptop on your back. But one thing is, when you put a laptop in here, it flexes into the capacity of the bag. So if you do put a laptop into the Rhake, just know that you're gonna lose however thick your laptop is in space in the main compartment, which is why this is not a travel bag. Lastly, you have this bottom pocket right here. I just put like an extra jacket or an extra towel in here because it's not a very big pocket, and if I put electronics in the main compartment or the laptop case, it's like a little bit of extra protection, I believe, from keeping it on hitting the floor too much on a hard surface. So I like to do that. Really quickly, I'm just gonna look at the laptop compartment on this one because I just have an idea. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if it's because of how the fabric is. Even though it is off the ground by ½ inch on this one, it doesn't feel as secure. Maybe because the fabric is less rigid. But it does still have that piece of fabric, I believe, keeping it off the bottom of the floor. It's not a very big piece. It's still that ½ inch of fabric. Yeah. Oh yeah. And both the MCB Rhake and the VX Rhake has a very soft foam on these barn doors. I'm gonna call them barn doors for the Rhake because, you know, whoosh. Yeah. So it has a soft foam on both of the barn doors. I'm not really sure why they used this piece of foam in this because I feel like it just kind of eats into the space, but maybe it gives it more of a structural integrity, or it's just for softening the items in here so that, you know, if it does hit anything, it won't break. But yeah, both of the bags do have this material on this inside. You can't feel it as much on the VX because the material is thicker on the outside, so you don't feel this as much, but they're both in there. So that is my look of the Rhake by Mission Workshop on both the VX and the MCB. I'm gonna leave links to both of them down below so that you can take a look at them at Mission Workshop's website. They're both the premium versions of the Rhake, and so they're quite expensive at $450-ish for both of them. To me, I think the VX one is more worth it than the Cobra one, or MCB, unless you really want these Cobra buckles. I don't really think these load lifters help too much, but if you're planning on traveling with the Rhake, these load lifters might help a little. But other than that, I would say go for the VX because of the material being more rigid, more, I think it's tougher. It'll last longer because of it. And these fidlock buckles, even though they're kind of annoying, they are a lot lighter, and thus You might not feel it right away, but the bag does feel a little lighter. So that's my review, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel. I will post more often. And if you want to support the channel, feel free to use the Amazon link down below. I do get a portion of the sales that are made through that link. And hope to see you guys next time.